Hi, my name is Yasi,
Hi, my name is Lenore Denai.
and our presentation is on Chapter 16, Persuasive Speaking Strategies.
The first slide is on types of appeals and arguments, and those three would be pathos, logos, and ethos. So pathos is a type of emotional appeal using emotions to persuade your audience. This could be anger. You can get the audience as mad as you about an issue. You can use fear, and when you use fear, two types of outcomes happen where this creates emphasis on the negative outcomes of the issue, and because of that, the audience feels vulnerable and then wants to know your solutions. Logos is the focus on the quality and quantity of your arguments. Students are more persuaded by few strong arguments more than many weak ones. And then that in total, logos just is evidence that adds legitimacy to your argument. Ethos is accomplished by establishing identification with your audience and therefore bolstering credibility. Identification with your audience can mean just affiliation with your audience. You find something in common, or you find something to help bolster your sense of knowledge. And then credibility comes with showing confidence, trustworthiness, and dynamics in your speech.
So now we have framing. This is using language to shape attitudes and behavior. In the book, it says, the influence descriptive wording has in our perception. So there are different ways things can be said in order to influence someone's thoughts or actions. For example, you would hear undocumented immigrants or illegal aliens. They both have a different perception in our mind. Illegal aliens might sound bad when undocumented immigrants doesn't sound as bad. Illegal aliens has a bad look on these people more than undocumented immigrants. Or you could look at fake news or truthful journalism. So they're both the same thing, but they play differently. The way that people word them is going to affect the way we think. Photographers do this also when they take pictures. They will frame what they want to show a point of view. So they won't show the whole thing. There's also something called reframing. Reframing, this is when the perception is altered by changing how issues, problems are phrased. So both of these influence our attitudes and behaviors. Framing is more effective when altering perceptions of people who are less informed and knowledge. So obviously, if you don't know the whole story, framing can get to you and it can be effective. They can persuade you into thinking the way they want you to think. If you add framing with strong evidence, it can change the way you or your opponent see and think about certain topics.
So this part is called inducing cognitive dissonance, which creates tension. So first of all, what is cognitive dissonance? This is the feeling of inconsistency when noticing unequal treatment of two subjects or inconsistency between two ideas or hypotheses. So for instance, like the double standard in dress codes in public schools often create a feeling of cognitive dissonance. This is a feeling that creates direct confrontation. So showing cognitive dissonance in your argument confronts the inconsistency of your opponent's standpoint. So just like how as kids, we think it's unfair that our parents let the older child have a later curfew, while some of us had to go to bed earlier. If you point that out, that creates tension because you pointed out an inconsistency in their thesis. But you must use this wisely because sometimes this tactic is not helpful or does not change the behavior, like if you're arguing against someone like a parent. However, if you're using cognitive dissonance when confronting a teacher about an unfair, unequal grading on a test per se, the behavior can be rectified.
The next one is the contrast effect. This is also known as the door in the face strategy. This is used when in sales or when someone wants to persuade you to do something. So an example of this could be people market their items as if they are on sale, so the buyers will think that it's a bargain, when really it's just a strategy to sell to people who haven't done the research. An example of this, actually, I went through. In Vegas, me and my mom, we approached the kiosk we told the guy, we look at the iron stuff, we told the guy like, oh, this is super cool. We asked him for the price. He said they're usually like $400 each, but they have a sale right now, a promotion, that you buy one and you get the other one for free. And, you know, it doesn't sound right, but it sounded good in the moment, and I was like, $400 and we get both. Later, the next day, we went back, we were walking down the casino again, and we went to see the kiosk again, just to see it again. And I heard him tell the customer there that you buy one for $200 and he can bring it down to like $180. And then I thought, okay, he definitely got us because we technically bought two. So as you can see, that is a way of the door in the face strategy that he used on us. This actually best works when you present a solution to the problem. In the example in the book, you see that the daughter wrote a letter to their parents saying all these horrible things, that she's pregnant, that she's been in a fire. And at the end of the whole thing, she said it was a lie and told them she's just failing some classes. At this point, the parents had all these negative thoughts in their mind that failing didn't even seem that bad. So that also like, it's like a way of, it's also like a door in the face. It's using something and presenting it with another solution, or making it not seem as bad.
So this last slide is on how to use a two-sided organizational pattern, but it's also called refutation. So a two-sided argument is answering and refuting an opposing argument rather than just ignoring them. Ignoring an opposing argument would be a one-sided argument. So there's 4 steps to refutation. The one is state the opposing argument. This is literally just, stating what they have said against you. So for instance, we've all heard the debate of, is a hot dog considered a sandwich? And so you could say the opposing argument would be, some people object to the idea that a hot dog should not be considered a sandwich, or should be considered a sandwich. Step 2 is state your reaction to the opposing argument. So this could be, this is a closed-minded idea for hot dogs are quite similar in assemblement and placement of bread to protein, for instance. This is a silly example, but it still makes sense here. Step 3 is support your response with reasoning and evidence. Failure to have strong evidence to support your claim will not help change the attitude of your audience. And step 4 is to indicate the effects of the opposing argument had on the strength of yours. So say how, for instance, there's more reasons to call, per se, a hot dog a sandwich than there are not. And then you're just weighing the damage of the opposing argument, giving it some credibility, but overall stating the better points that you had. And that's it.